So here we can see this individual here. This is the left eye and then the right eye here, and you can get a little shine off the nose. It's a huge creature, 18, 20 feet for sure. But right here, we got another one with him. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Let's take a look at this thing real quick. So right here, we've got this tree going through in front of him, and its head is just behind the tree. So we can see the eye and the other eye there. You can even make out the ball of the eye there, and some of the nose behind that, and then the mouth. So we have this huge Sasquatch right next to this this other Sasquatch, and it's an excellent shot, man. Here's how I got the shot. I'm actually on expedition with Bigfoot forest giants. You can visit their channel on YouTube. Jimmy and Richard are doing a good job over there. They were with me on this day when I got more proof that giant Sasquatch are real. It's interesting to me that so many people are in denial about the data that we're uncovering and so willing to dismiss it. It speaks volumes to the ignorance the majority of our society has to their own physical limitations. Regardless of historical reference, regardless of scientific study, people refuse to accept the fact that they can't see 99% of what's going on around them. When you're in the forest, if you don't have a means of manipulating the light around you, and you're in an area that is known to hold Sasquatch, where eyewitnesses have said they've been, there's a chance these 25-foot giants are in there.
How are you feeling this morning?
You got me on that one. I was talking about how I feel on camera on my camera.
Yeah.
When you started recording. And as soon as a second you asked me that question, did you hear the noise in the bushes?
I did.
On the left-hand side of us? You're like asking me a question. I was thinking, should I talk right now or what's going on? Something's over here and there.
Well, that's pretty par for the course.
I don't feel good.
You don't feel good?
No.
Yeah.
Well, let's just try to keep hiking though and try to see if we can make it and get it done. Yeah. I'm having trouble seeing, and I'm having trouble remembering what I'm supposed to do. I get the question all the time about whether we see the creatures that we're catching on film, and we do a lot of the time. It's taking us a long time to get there. There's a little Bigfoot right there next to that tree watching us.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Right there. If you come on this line right behind me, you can probably film this thing too. So our data models and our modeling process for every new research area, it instantly gives us an overview of where the creatures like to be. We then focus our attention on those areas, and it's a numbers game. You know, he could have been behind a tree that was 75 yards away, but today he was here. I was paying attention. I realized from watching the previous expedition's footage that this is one of those areas that they like to be in. I seen something moving around in there last time, wasn't clear enough. This time, I saw the individual, and Melanie caught it on film to the extent that we can confirm I was staring at what appears to be a Bigfoot. I got a forehead, I got everything. He's just blending in really good. Hopefully that one will come out. So what we're doing is we're shooting with a telephoto on the Canon today, and what it does is allows me to get in and get shots that are
200 to 500 yards away with a little more clarity. And if I do see a creature, I can zoom in on it best I can. Now, I'm doing this handheld today because I didn't have enough energy and strength to carry my tripod and the whole rig and all that. So the footage is going to be a little shakier. So what I'm doing is I'm using the zoom lens and making adjustments on what I choose to shoot. Because I don't have the tripod, I can get into around 100 yards away without any shake at all with this lens. So today I'm going to try to focus on shots that are basically within 150 yards as opposed to zooming in 500 yards. You need a tripod for that. Handheld at a greater distance, the shake is way too bad. You can get a glimpse at what's there in the slow motion review of the film, but you really want to use a tripod. And if you're not, then make the adjustments and shoot a little closer so that you don't have as much shake in the end product. Okay, so in the subsequent hikes, since Melanie was here in 2018, we've recorded footage of all of this same track. And that's the idea. One of the ways that we keep track of what's going on in the area on a weekly basis when we do our expeditions is reviewing the footage. So it's particularly important that we take the same track on the way in every time, because what it does is it creates a reliability in their observational points, which means we can count on them watching because we come in the same way every time. So it creates an observation point for them at the end of the trail right behind us.
Feeling now? We're about 50 minutes in.
I'm done. I'm having chest pains and tightness and shit. My lungs hurt. So I'm going to pull a plug on it, man. Let's shoot on the way out, see if we can grab something extra, but let's just go ahead and focus on getting out.
Okay. Deep breaths, babe.
I know, man. I shouldn't have worn this long sleeve. I thought it was a good idea because of the bugs, but there's been a lot of rain, so I thought the mosquitoes would be terrible this morning.
Well, it is a little bit cooler than usual.
It is. It's a little cooler, and there's just this little bit of air moving, so we had a nice breeze back there where you could smell that.
Hominoid.
I've been wet, and I haven't used any chemicals ever to bathe, and they get this homeless person's clothing kind of smell, and it's like, holy crap, man. You know, you can, it's all over back there. Interestingly enough, we found one of those smells. I was shooting and I backed up into this bush and it was all over my neck, coming over my shoulders. It freaked me out. I stepped out and looked, and it's like going up the hill and there's bush all covered, but there were some ripe saw palmetto berries they were the only ones that we've seen in this entire trail that were black and totally ripe. And the smell was all surrounding the hill around the ripe saw palmetto berries. So it's like, you know, the seemingly insignificant will next time, because I'm aware of it, I'll evaluate that bush. And more than likely, in the next 2 to 3 days, all of those ripened saw palmetto nuts are going to be gone. The fruit off of that plant's going to be gone. And that's what we see. We catch the smell, we catch tracks, we catch activity, and then all the fruit's gone in the next 3-4 days. Come back in, and there's tracks all around it. That's how it works. Pay attention, monitor the situation, and corroborate. That's it.
I'm going to take a look at this shot, but I want to draw your attention over here to this palmetto that can't be there. This is just a palmetto branch that's been broken off that's in this. This is the lake, man, right on the shore. And there's no palmetto over there, but there's a Bigfoot, and he's down in the bushes, and I believe he's sitting right on the bank, and he's just watching me and Melanie, and he's just got barely a little bit of himself showing, as you can see. And he's like, I'm not here, you know, I blend in. If I don't move, I can sit in these bushes. You can see his forehead, a little bit of his eye there. This is his nose. You can see it's very human-like. And he just sits up from laying down. And what I think is going on is they got these palm fronds over here, and the palm fronds will kill any sunlight from any direction. These things block out sunlight like you wouldn't believe. So it's possible there's like a little structure in here, and these guys are in there, but he's watching Melanie and me. And I thought that was really cool, man. A few frames of him moving forward. You can see he's just in there watching us. And there's even a couple pretty clear frames where through these leaves that are around his face, you can see the bone structure. You know, you can see he's in there. And it's really something, man. The lengths the creatures go to exist in the areas that human beings occupy and recreate. This thing's watching us, man, and it's like barely visible, but anyway, you see some of his bone structure. Literally, with his face has, like, you can see some of the mouth line down this way, but the under the nose and the bridge here, and then you get the bulge of this very human-like forehead, and it's sloping back, and it's perfect. He just has leaves in front of both of his eyes, and probably he's got friends. I mean, there's some interesting stuff in the rest of it, but I wanted to make note of that. It's pretty cool, man, and I know exactly where he's sitting. So next time, I'm going to set a camera up, and I'm going to run a time lapse. I'm going to do a time lapse shot, and we're going to see who comes up and takes a look, and who goes back down, and what happens. This particular footage is footage of a creature that's in excess of 18 feet tall. It's embedded in a hillside and using the cocoa plums as a shaded environment, and it's observing my wife and I. The only reason I caught it is we knew something was going on because we heard branches cracking, and I assumed that it was the creature getting into position to observe us. Upon closer review of the footage, and again manipulating the light and exposures in the footage, we were able to reveal what was actually there watching us. This is actually what it was like. It was extremely bright. When you're in those situations with high sunlight, it's difficult to see through your oculus of your cameras, and it's difficult to see without sunglasses. You're in a very difficult situation from an observational standpoint. We managed to get the footage because we understand that they're there. So we're shooting the appropriate area where all of our senses, the hearing, we're seeing little bushes moving, and we're focused on that, filming that. We get home and we get the footage. So some of these instances we're seeing the creatures and filming them, and then other instances we are picking up that they're there and catching them in the review process. We used to push they're human, and it's a serious humanitarian issue, and the reality is there are a lot of these individuals that have had family groups, hominoids, that have unfortunately interacted with modern humans, and we know now, based on oral tradition, that these creatures have been plucking people and doing horrible things, and a direct result, and the fact that we know this is easily understood in the fact that I have it in my lineage. that one of these creatures got one of my relatives. My DNA our family DNA is being studied right now. And I had literally had to have surgery to make me look human. That's not a joke, it's the truth. But looking at, what is happening and seeing how these creatures, look at that, my God, that's scary. The eyes, the nostrils, it's like a troll. It's got this trolly kind of look, but it's changing colors in this bush, It's so easy for these creatures to fool us. I've had to mess around with the exposure. The nose is in a different position. It's looking down its nose at us. You can see the upper lip here, the mouth. Is it possible there's another one? Absolutely. But we have to understand that a lot of what we're looking at is one creature. We can see the eye shine again. The nostrils and that strange non-human primate ridge that's on the upper lip once it's stretched back against the skull. Well, let's just think about that. Is it teeth pushing through? Is this actually musculature or lip over top of dentite? We're not sure. It could be a raised portion, a bump, if you will, underneath the nostril, or it could be that it's tight against its teeth, and I'm not sure. But we look at this kind of footage, and again, we're dealing with a species that blends in. There's obviously something going on, and they're all around each other. I can see this, I look at, taking it one individual at a time, and here, let's turn this spot off. And I try to stay focused. Now, we have some really good frames right here. Let's actually turn the spot back on and move it over there, Sasky. Yeah, okay, so now we're going to get a look, and we can see them. We've got the eye area, and this is going to be the brow. And yeah, there's some kind of a black, I don't know what that is. It could be hanging down. But we can see the nose has that spade shape at this point, the way it looks. And we can see that it's our camera is struggling to read this creature. And it's only when, the light really hits just right that we get any real visual frames. We've got the eyes. This is a very scary, very ugly creature. In fact, at this point in the frames, the creature actually, with its musculature on its face, resembles the painting that we made. It's unbelievable and uncanny how that creature kind of looks like that. Let's move over a little bit here and get into some of these other frames where we're getting nostrils and all that. That's going to be, yeah, see? And we've got that black thing's hanging there. It's got to be, I don't know, man. What is it? Whew. Could be leaves or hair. They're all disheveled in there. Could be one butting its head up against it. That's what I'm saying. We're dealing with these communal creatures. And we've got this individual. Brow, eyes, bridge, possible hand up. But he's turning his head. In this frame, he's looking this way. And you can actually see finger, In this frame, he turns and looks at me. So Melanie's on my left during this clip. And she's, down a little ways. This guy's looking over at my wife and then looking at me. Interesting, huh? And we can see, whether this is a smaller one up top or just a part of his head, which I'd venture a guess that it's probably his head. But you never know. It could be a little one because that's how they live. They live like that, right? We would live, developing habits. And this is what we see. We see their habits on film. And so it's of particular importance that if you're going to study these creatures, you learn how to review film in a proper workstation and begin to understand that this is how you're going to learn about the habitual nature of the creatures. And they are habitual. They don't have a choice in that the only way they can hide is by diffusion. So it automatically tells us that if they walk out in the open, while they will be bright white and they will shine with glare coming off of them, sparkling, and I've seen this. This was how I began to understand that these albino is basically the way modern humans would describe what's in the bushes. They lack coloration, they lack pigmentation, they lack chroma, right? They're colorless. People would call them white, but that's a misnomer. We look and we see that this creature appears to be darker. Well, they also have dark skin. Achromatic encompasses the colorless or white, bright colorless, bright white, all the way to jet black, and all of those hues of gray and shades of gray in between. And so we can literally see that we have the symmetry of two different individuals with possibly two different tones in the achromatic scale. And this is really good data. So we're going to start a file on this individual and this individual. And that's how we begin. We've got a bunch of stuff going on in these trees. We can see it. And the reason I'm looking at this is a skunk ape. But I identified that there were others with him. Now, let's look at as we go through this, we can see that we've got these creatures here. This is one of those skunk ape types. It's next to another one that's next to another one. It's like a group, right? And what we're seeing is that, you know, they like to be very close to each other. But you can see this thing's eyes. And let's get in a little bit closer. Look at these shots we're getting in the distances. But we're able to zoom in and get relative clarity on the symmetry of our subjects. I mean, you can see there's nostrils. Got the mouth. We've got the skunk ape thing right here, but he's kind of changing colors. Gray skin. The whole thing. The footage is just now starting to render. There's the frame before it. He's opening. We get a little bit of blinkage, and we've got an incredible distance, but we've got evidence that they're grouping together. So we need to pay close attention when we're looking for these larger individuals that this grouping together isn't happening, because we can see there's some smaller ones in there. There's a few of them blinking actually at the same time, which doesn't surprise me. The solar events are happening in real time to all of them. That thing looks like it's shifting a little bit there. That's interesting. A lot of aberration, a couple of clear frames here and there. We definitely have him to where he's blinking and then squinting at us. Very interesting. One of the little guys, probably a 7 to 9 footer. One of those miners, goblin-like miners. There he is, the goblin-like miner, blinking away. A lot of what I do, a lot of what I do is reviewing film, and what we're about to do is take a look at some creatures that are running past. And it looks strange, but looks like there's a few of them in a line, and they're moving, man, and they are booking, right? This is slow motion right here, and we can see that it looks like something's running by, and it looks like maybe there might be one with one on its back or something. I don't know. I mean, you can't tell, but here's all this movement in the bushes, and this is actually what it looks like. Watch. There it is. That's it. We're looking right here. Watch. Here it comes. And whoop. That's it. Right? But we're in the prairie, and this is on the other side of this is just this strip continues, and it goes all the way into this tree line. It comes all the way out. It's like a finger that comes out of the forest. These are the places that they use. We talk about that. So when we're at the parking lot, which is where we're at, we're leaving the parking lot right now. We need to be very aware, because sometimes they were watching you when you got out of your truck, and they're running off into the deep forest to tell the others that you're coming. Looks like multiple individuals. There's no one out here with us. No one at all. Well, except for them. We're working on this insane piece of footage with these enormous creatures that, I mean, essentially it's not something that's supposed to ever even come close to existing. We got train tracks right here. These are train tracks, and this is an enormous creature, and there are several. We've already marked them from a distance. Now here's Melanie hiked down to them. She's at the train tracks now, and we're still picking these giant things up. There's a huge creature right there. Let's get in a little bit closer here. You can see she's on the trail there. And oh my God, is this real? How is this happening? Let me extend that footage so that we can, it's rendering right now, but by the looks of it, maybe we can make, man, we got eyes and even, oh boy, that's not good. It could be, man, geez, guys, this appears to be a huge creature. We're going to need more data, but my goodness, you can see the whites glaring off the back of its head, off the back of its eyes, and even some of the nostril here now. It appears that Melanie, the mouth, has hiked down to what are, in fact, extremely large creatures. And for one reason or another, they have been, I guess, going off everybody's radar. There it is right there. Let's zoom in on this one and see. For my sakes, I got to tell you guys, this is coming out pretty scary. You can see this thing is moving its brow in there. It appears to be one of those really big sasquatch creatures. Again, we've got eye shine coming out. Pretty coincidental for this data to have that. I'm going to crop in on this one too and take a look and see what we're dealing with here. But it really continues consistently backing itself up. I mean, no matter what we do, I've tried to disprove this, and this isn't the only clip, and that's the reason I'm saying if you're watching on Patreon and you've been supporting the study, then you know we've been picking this up, and I've been hinting around at it that there are these enormous creatures, and the data appears to at this point only support that conclusion from this area, which is a completely different area now. We have an enormous creature here, and it's watching my wife. My God. Okay, okay, guys. Well, it's only getting worse, man. My God, how many of them are there? Let me still frame this, and let's get in. And just in between frames, you can see that it's changing its brow right there. It appears to be watching Melanie. Does it have fingers up in front of its face? I'm not sure. This is insane. This data is insane. I mean, I don't even know what to say. This is clearer than the last one that we just put up. And here it comes. Let's take a look. We're going to try to get, if there's something there that's not what it's supposed to be, it should come through here in this. Oh boy. Well, there appears to be some red over in this area here. But is this more than one creature? Are they piled together, giving us the illusion that this is a giant creature? I don't know that that's the case, specifically because we have so many frames not showing the other creatures. Now, there could be other creatures around it, but we're starting to see that this is some solid data here, man. I mean, this thing's turned its head. Look at the size of this. I mean, you can see there's a brow line and everything, and it's at this point, man, my God, what am I supposed to say about this? I mean, you guys are sitting here looking at it. It's obvious to me that appears to be an enormous creature, regardless of the insanity of that data. I've learned to trust the data because it leads me to more data. I have to assume that since we're seeing perfect balance in this, in every way, that this is real. And I'm going to do this last shot, and I'm going to leave you with the rest of this film and what you're going to see. And I'm just here to tell you that what we're documenting is real. And this is all one hike with, we want this one right here. There we go. This is one, man, there is something really freaky going on here. And we need to ascertain this. But that looks to me like a giant creature. And now that my wife's close, this thing's trying to hide better. Because you can see before, in this footage, it was right up on the tracks. Or at least it appeared to be.